My name's Nate. You know the deal. This is Nightcap. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So right before I get on, you know this is a live thing. Sometimes I prepare, sometimes I don't. I know there's a couple. Seems to be like one or two new people a night, which is great, that watch this. So I just want to give a little prep. I kind of ran and rave about shit. This is your first time, and I started in during COVID, and I just kept going, and now I think I can make a career of it. So anyway, I'm going to start off by talking. Look, I didn't do a very good job of setting up tonight, and most of the reason is because I spent a significant amount of time today hanging out with my dogs outside because it was fucking beautiful. So sue me. When Pennsylvania gets a 70-degree day, you don't fuck around. You take advantage of that, especially if it's in March. Okay? We have like 14 winters here. We're probably going to have another fucking winter in like 3 days. I promise you. It's been worse than lottery numbers. It's been like 0, 72, -4, 55. So today I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I don't have, this time's all I got. So I'm going to spend that time with my doggies. And it was dope. They fell asleep on my head later in the day. And I know you don't care, but these motherfuckers are cute as fuck. And if you don't know, Real Delilah the Pug is Instagram famous with like 10,000 followers, way more than all my other assets. So get on the program. Doug the Pug he doesn't have shit on my doggies. No disrespect to the king. But anyway, so, I did, it's not like I did nothing, but I spent some time going through articles, and I've been putting together this narrative trying to help people understand what the fuck the GOP, and I will get to the Democrats, what their plan is for America. Not only that, but for the midterms. Because as we've seen, fucking elections matter. We elected Donald Trump, which I hate the fact that I'm saying his name, the guy that the fable Emperor Has No Clothes was written. It's a prophecy. It was prophetic. If you're biblical, if you're a Christian, you understand this was prophetic shit when they wrote that fable saying, hey, look, you're going to have people that are fucking stupid enough to believe the guy's wearing fucking a golden robe or a purple lush velvet. Velour happens to be my favorite kind of cloth. He's wearing a velour robe and covering his private parts when actually they're swinging in their face. I know that's not how the fable went, but that's how it probably should have went, because that's what we had, over before the previous 2 years. But, essentially what put us in this fucking precarious situation with Russia and Ukraine and the fucking COVID thing, which was supposed to just go away. And we were going to spend Easter. We were going to spend Easter with our families. It's just going to go away. All that horse shit. So I still have PTSD, by the way. If this is your first time, I'm not going to lie. This show is about bashing on both parties, but right now one party is heavily mentally challenged. I think we're allowed to say that. And I don't mean any disrespect for people that have a true disability, but it feels as if they're not learning. They're incapable of understanding how things work. And so that's the best moniker I could come up with. And again, no offense to the special ed folks and the special education children, because I won't say the other word. We're not allowed to say that, and that's fine. I'm okay with that. Language has changed and the meanings change. But mentally challenged is my only thing I could think of. By the way, I hope you're hearing sound, because again, this is all kind of fucked up. And before I get into the core of what I'm going to talk about tonight, look, I know my glasses are fucking up shit with how they look, and you can't see the beautiful brown eyes that lie underneath. But I'm going to fix that, but you're just going to have to deal with it tonight. Turn the camera to the side and just listen to my voice and let it hypnotize you with knowledge and power so that we can change the fucking world together. That's the whole plan too, by the way. If you're new, I'm not just sitting here trying to get fucking internet famous. I don't give a fuck about that shit. What I care about is seeing people thrive. And that's no shit. I was homeless. I don't fucking like people being homeless. I think it's a shame that we actually have fucking homeless people when we have people going to fucking, what are we going to do? Like, move all the people that have homes once the Earth's destroyed? Is that the plan? Like, we're going to just send them to Mars? No, we got to fix our system before we start moving to another planet, motherfuckers. Anyway, let me get back to the point. I do like to rant about, I sometimes go off tangent. That's just how I roll. Somebody yelled at me too for apologizing too much on here. Well, fuck you. I'm not going to apologize anymore. I realize that makes me soft, but you know, I tend to use self-deprecation as a coping mechanism. Let's just say, since I'm in therapy, that sounds real fancy. But I'm going to continue to apologize for whatever the fuck I want, and I'm also going to make sure that I'm communicating the way I want to. So eat it, and I totally mean that in jest. Let's get to the core points, though. You know, this narrative that I've been talking about is the strategy of the midterms. And as I'm going through my articles today, I'm kind of looking through and I'm seeing these headlines that just blown me away. You know, we've got the one positive thing, side note, that happened today is they got rid of daylight savings, or at least it passed the House like unanimously, I think, which is a fucking amazing. I was surprised. I figured there'd be somebody that's, you know, from some podink fuck farm town that's like, no, man, the fuck, we got to keep that shit going, or some dumb shit, but they actually got it done. So, hey, when I said they can't accomplish big things, it's kind of a big thing. I mean, they're fucking with the time-space continuum. And so the fact that they did that, I'm impressed. That leaves me with a little tiny speck of hope that we can actually get something else done in this motherfucker. But, you know, I'm still fucking leaning towards the glass is half empty and someone's going to fucking knock it over and spill it, and I'm not going to touch it because it's probably poisonous. All right? So if I'm a little bit more animated than normal, you know, I did do a little bit of things to get my vibrance up today. No, it wasn't Cialis or fucking Viagra, you freak. But I've been doing some things to help myself get a little bit. I've been just worn lately, and this is taxing, trying to change the world from a fucking microphone and internet in my office, thinking I can do that. But the truth is, you know, I get a lot of input, I get a lot of stuff coming in, and sometimes I fight it, and sometimes I just kind of like it just zaps me. So that's kind of been happening lately, and it's kind of been showing on camera a little bit. So my goal is to try to deflect all that shit, process it, therapize it. That's a word I'm making up. And then come on here and give you something to fucking watch. Let's get back to the topic. All right, so this narrative that I'm talking about, it's crazy, right? We talked about the boogeyman. If you didn't know, if you didn't read the blog, go to smashingtheparty.com. There's blog. There's probably like 50, 70, 100 blog posts there. You can subscribe. You're cool if you pay. You're cool if you pay for a year, but you get articles for free. And one of the articles I wrote for free was talking about the boogeyman concept, which is something that the GOP and the Democrats use, which to get their base out. And that's just creating fear, uncertainty, and doubt, the FUD factor, let's call it. And that motivates people, because if you take away their stability, now they're motivated to change it. If you say, look, you're going to fucking lose your home, people start doing crazy shit. You're going to lose your kid. You're going to lose something. You know, people will do anything. Sorry about that. Excuse me. So that's what's happening. And right now I'm focusing on the fear that, you know, the one that's so transparent to me, which is the GOP's play, pulling in CRT, critical race theory is scary. They're going to indoctrinate your kids and sexualize them at a young age and all this crazy shit that's working on the conservative side. But then you kind of you step back and you're going through these articles, and I'm seeing these headlines, and I'm like, this is you know, I also wrote another article about kayfabe, which, again, if I'm saying it wrong, it's a wrestling term which encapsulates the fakeness and the strategy of keeping the fact that it's an inauthentic performance instead of a sport. And that was a word. Again, great blog post. I wrote it yesterday. Nobody fucking gave me any feedback on it. They could have at least told me it was shit, but my wife did say it was good. She liked it. So she's always on my side, though. It's a little fucking biased. But the point is, like, what I'm seeing right now is this kayfabe, which essentially is like this performance art that's happening. And both sides are going to get into it. But right now I'm focusing on the GOP because you know how I feel about them, because they elected a fucking animal. But the GOP is kind of doing this fake performance shit, and it's working. The performance is that we're going to create fear, even if it takes lies to do that. And then not only that, but they don't even have their messaging together. The leader of their party, Donald Trump, who is the de facto leader since he left office, he's still kind of at the helm, raking in the cash. Right before the Ukrainian invasion, or right during the Ukrainian invasion early on, he said Vladimir Putin was a genius. This is the head of the GOP. Remember, he got He was impeached for withholding aid to Ukraine because he wanted them to investigate Joe Biden. This is real shit. And when you post that on Instagram or social media, the Trump people come in and say, "What's that fucking matter?" Again, it didn't matter. That thing that happened in the past doesn't matter, even though we're suffering the fucking consequences today. That tells you where the party people are at. There's no forethought. There's no acceptance of personal responsibility. There's no saying, "Hey, look, we made a mistake. Hey, you know what? Trump's a fucking idiot. He's not our president anymore. Let him go. Remove the fucking tattoo that you got on your ass and the flag that you have in front of your house. It's a fucking cult, dude. Chill." But every time I post something about gas prices or kind of pointing the finger at the last administration, you have folks coming in just kind of deflecting, and they're like they're not trolls because they're really just repeating what their masters are saying. And so I would say they are kind of repeaters. They're trampolines for this messaging that's coming from the leadership. So I'm going through these headlines. Promise you I'll stay on point. I'm going through these headlines, and I'm seeing U.S. Senate unanimously condemns Putin's as a war criminal. Days after the leader of their party suggested he was genius and he's going to get Ukraine for next to nothing, for $2 worth of sanctions, was his quote. So messaging, again, if you're Republican, you're ignoring that shit, right? Because it's probably on Huffington Post or CNN. Fox News or OANN isn't going to cut that shit or tell you about that or even show a conflict there. They're going to move on to the next story to keep you riled up. So you're like, those fucking Democrats, that's what they're doing. And every time the trampoliners and the sheeple and all the fucking libertarian assholes do that shit, they do that shit. They follow their leader and they repeat the dumb shit they say. I know there are people on Instagram, Twitter, social media, whatever, that know nothing about how gas prices work, but they're fucking going in there, fucking fighting like they're fucking energy secretary and shit. By the way, the energy secretary for Trump was the first energy secretary that didn't have a fucking PhD in energy. Rick fucking Scott or whatever the fuck his name was. The guy from Texas, not Rick Scott. Who was the other guy? Rick Perry. The guy that forgot which institutions he was going to get rid of when he was on stage at one of the debates. But anyway, neither here nor there. The point I'm making is that this messaging that they're trying to put out, the fear factor, is there's so many conflicting points that could be kind of capitalized on by the opposition party to say, look, these guys don't even know what they want. The president says Putin's a genius. The Republicans are condemning Putin. This was the former leader of your party. First conflict that's fucked up. Next thing is they don't want to believe. They don't want you to. The Republican Party right now doesn't want you to believe what your eyes see, only what they tell you. Does that sound like a fucking book to you that you heard of 1984 just to fucking give you the hint? Right now, RNC says Congress should not investigate. This is their position from the party central suggests that January 6th should not be investigated. We should just let it go. So for all you kind of rebel rousers out there that want to take over the country, go for it. Fucking go for it. There's not going to be any consequences as long as you're, I mean, you can kill people apparently. You can break things. You can damage property. You might get convicted. You might not. Maybe you don't wear a fucking horn mask that's easily identifiable. But the big news, if you're kind of one of the puppet masters, is that guess what? They're just going to Pontius Pilate that shit and say, nope, it doesn't matter. So if you're looking to overthrow the United States government, I mean, Christ, RNC says no big deal. Attacks on the Capitol building that essentially put the lives of nearly all our Congress people in danger, no investigation needed. That's another, I mean, how do you say you're the party of law and order and then have this at the top of your leadership hierarchy as a premise of what you're going to kind of run on? Saying, hey, look at the Democrats, they're politicizing this. It's a fucking political thing. They were trying to overtake an election. It was bizarre as shit. And as I'm going through this, I'm seeing these conflicts, and they're coming from like the same sources, or sometimes they'll be, this source over here, which is a conservative thing, posts this thing, and then this item will post, hey, RNC says Congress should not be investigating January 6th attack. And so if you're just staying with one source, or you're just kind of staying in your bubble, you probably think I'm talking shit right now. You probably think all this is bullshit because Nate watches reads Huffington Post and CNN. I don't do any of that shit. I don't even go to Huffington Post if I can help it. I try to go, if I do go to Huffington Post, I try to go to the articles that they're linking to, unless they're original articles. And I'm only telling you that because I don't know if it's because the way I grew up with the internet, but it's like, you can't honestly believe everything that you say. Today, my wife called me and asked me a question about, I called her to tell her about our one dog, Jezebel. She fucking spins around every single time you do anything like that excites her. And apparently that's kind of something that can be looked at as anxiety. She's definitely an anxious dog compared to Delilah. Delilah will chill. There could be a fire in the house and Delilah would just slowly walk out. Smartly, though, she would get out of the way. Jezebel would probably spin around in circles and just look for Delilah or look for me or lay down and cry. She's wacky. We call her COVID baby. But I asked Google. I literally don't cancel. I asked Google, what do I do? What is there anything we can do with dogs that spin in circles randomly and for no reason or when they're excited? And of course, there's an anxiety component there, and it kind of said that's something you should watch. So I call my wife and I'm talking to her about this, and I tell her, holy shit. I told her, I just lost my point. Hold on. See, that happens today because I'm on this new shit. So I started talking to her about, I hate that. I'm sorry. Look, this is live. What the fuck are you going to do? I started talking to her about this and telling her about the dog. And then, I basically said, after I was telling her this, I said, by the way, everything I'm telling you there's no research behind it from my end. I looked up 2 articles. I don't know if this is true or not. So I just put that out there to her. This is information sharing between myself and my wife, but I had to put that disclaimer out there. The reason I made that point is because I want you to understand, like, even when I'm doing something and I get a good, concise answer, if I haven't spent a lot of time in it or I don't have a definitive, it was an ask Google. It was to my Echo downstairs. So of course, I just kind of said it. There was no other articles, and then I pulled up an article on my phone, and that was it. My point isn't to elevate myself as some grand filter of information, all-knowing, omniscient, fucking whatever, parser of information. What it is just that I'm doubtful of everything I read. And people aren't. People aren't, especially when they kind of become sycophantic or they want to be the guy. They love Tucker Carlson because he fucking speaks to their heart. And so Tucker Carlson can literally just lead these people everywhere because they take that as verbatim. Now, you're probably thinking, Nate, why the fuck should we believe you? Don't believe me. Go fucking research some of the shit that I'm saying, and you'll find I speak facts. I'm so confident in what I say because I know them to be true. And if I'm not sure about something to be true, I will say, look, I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. Don't listen to me. These little kind of acknowledgments are one way that I keep myself honest. Like I said, I got lots of ammo for the Democrats. Fucking A, are you fucking... Hold on a second. My shit's skipping. Let's see if that makes it better. Damn you. That's a little better. Maybe it'll speed up. Sorry about that. I noticed my screen was getting all weird. That's what happens when you're doing live, folks. That's what happens. Maybe I can even get it better by doing this. Hold on. Let me just stop the preview. And let's see what that does. All right. Well, that looks better. My frame rate looks better. Let me see if I can turn my TV on. Look, it's live. All right. Let's see if I can see my actual self because I hate not seeing myself. No, I don't want to watch Netflix. Give me a second. Don't worry. I'm not going to go much longer because I think I'm going to come to the point where you're going to understand where I'm going with this in a minute. As soon as I get this fucker on the right channel. I need to see myself. Searching for... There we go. All right, cool. Oh, you know what? I can't do that. Oh. that was because my camera audio is on. All right, listen, we're gonna wing it. It looks like my frame rate's all right, so I think I'm a little better. I know that I shouldn't be running preview while I'm doing this live, and that's what was happening. So if it was getting a little jittery, I'm hoping that it's better now. Anyway, I'll cut that out on the YouTube. My point of, where I was going with this is I want to talk about a couple more conflicts that I saw. So, I'm kind of helping you understand, or at least pointing out the fact that the party of the GOP doesn't have a long-term vision, as I've been saying for weeks, months. They don't have an agenda. For years, they haven't had a new agenda since 2016. So they have no, all the world events and everything that happened since 2016. That's it. They're stuck in 2016. 2012 was the last time they ran a new platform. 2016, they just, no, wait, hold on. 2012 was when they ran the new 16. Yes, 2012 was the last one. And then 2016, they just said, fuck it. So there hasn't been a new platform since 2012. I was right. 2012, or is it 2016? Damn it. They basically, it was, what was it? I don't know. My brain's going blank because I'm trying to think of my next point. The point is they just kind of revamped their platform and put a resolution on the front of it to say we're going to support Donald Trump. And so the Democrats actually did, it was in 2020, Democrats actually did have a convention, and they said, look, based on the new world events, here's what we think should happen. And so when you read these, you can tell just from this is coming from the RNC, the leadership of the GOP. So there's no vision at the top, okay? And now we're running midterms, and their playbook, we know it. It's going to be fear, uncertainty, and doubt. And so, again, I'm not some fucking pundit, famous dude, analyst, but this is like what you can see too if you just open your eyes up and say, you know what, I'm just going to check out. Yeah, I hate Democrats, but you know what? Maybe some things Nate's saying about Republicans are true. And then what you can do is actually hold them to the fucking fire. Call them. Get fucking Lloyd on the phone, Lloyd Smucker, the guy that wanted to usurp our votes. Get him on the phone and fucking yell at him and say, why the fuck? Look, I got this crazy guy, Nate Bomberger. He'll know who I am. You got this crazy guy saying you guys are hypocrites and you're talking out both sides of your mouth. What's up? And then pull out go to my articles, pull up this video and say, here's what he said you said. And see what he says. Because it's ridiculous that they can kind of do this performance art bullshit, kayfabe. Lock it in, keep it all secret, make sure they're getting their money from their donors, make it look like they're doing little things for us. Look, daylight savings, I don't know. Is it going to save lives? Maybe. It's a big deal because it messes with the time-space continuum, but it's not really something that's going to benefit everyone, although it does. Look, seasonal depression might help with that. I'm not going to hate on it. But these are, that was something that seems like a no-brainer, logically, psychologically, health-wise, financially. But as soon as something becomes not a financial incentive, then it's out the window. It's out the window. Or a security issue. A security issue is also another thing that they can always bring money out for. But let me just continue. So those were two articles that I talked about. And let me see the other one I pulled up. Where's my other one? Where'd you go, buddy? There you are. All right. So, So, and then this is the one that triggered me actually to kind of go into this rant. So the Atlantic, another rag, conservative, but they've kind of been open-minded. I believe they're conservative. Hold on, let me just Google that. It's actually kind of good that I don't know. But I just know that during the Trump years, they kind of started getting pretty open-minded. Yeah, I guess they're progressive. I'm going to say, because they were actually abolitioners. And there's no fucking conservative that wants to keep things status quo that was an abolitioner. Don't even fucking go there. Don't even fucking go there. Abe Lincoln was not a fucking conservative, you fucks. We're not going there. All right. But anyway, so this article in The Atlantic talks about I mean, these are people that are looking at this and studying history, talking about the fact that we don't have a weapon against autocracy, which is essentially, you know, this this dictatorial approach to leadership, which is like you put one person in charge, you have people in charge, the autocrats, the people that control everything, and everyone else doesn't get a vote. And so you're starting to see that happen in Europe. Putin's got it mastered. But you see this happening, and it's happening out of the GOP side. Do you know that Putin, he ended up the only people during this war that he's engaging with Ukraine, he didn't sanction any Republicans. He only sanctioned Democrats. So we've got this conflict where Republicans are holding the mantle of patriotism, yet Vladimir Putin, the one they just voted as a war criminal, decided not to hold anyone else in Congress, just people in the Democratic Party under sanction. We know the RNC were taking Russian money. We know this. We know Trump had a lot of assets in Russia based on his son's own words. And you know that he altered the platform when he had the opportunity to weaken Ukraine's position. And then he withheld, military aid that would be helping them right now until he got a favor for them to investigate Joe Biden. So again, the conflicts are so glaring to me, but yet I guarantee you I'll have somebody get in my inbox and say, it's the Democrats that are closed-minded, verbatim that came in my inbox. It's the Democrats that are waging war. Look, it's Joe Biden. Trump got us out of Afghanistan, or at least he wanted to safely, and then Biden, and they'll go through this whole spin that I could do. I could easily replicate every single objection they're going to have, because you can go to Fox News and get it, or you just think of what's the thing that I have to say to defend my position, even though I have nothing to defend or there's no facts to defend it. So creatively, I'm going to come up with this thing that I'm going to say, and it's not that creative. It's like a 2-year-old came up with it, and of course it's a lie. And as the 2-year-old says, hey, I didn't eat the cake, and they're covered with it on their face, you kind of look at him and go, oh, you're precious. You're a fucking 2-year-old. You didn't know you're lying to me, but it's precious because you got cake all over your face. Except it's not precious with these motherfuckers. They're not toddlers. And it's not cake all over their face. It's fucking lives at risk and people's ability to thrive. You know, they talk about life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness, yet they continue to come out with legislation that prevents all three of those things. And the party of the GOP does nothing. These people will still be in office in 10 years. Some of them, that crazy person, the 2 crazy people in there, they'll still be there. And that's not to say we don't have crazies on the Democrat. Tulsi Gabbard is a total fucking Russian asset. She's the only person in Congress that took a huge amount of money from this indicted Russian agent, and now she's spinning propaganda straight from the Kremlin. And so, again, I'm not suggesting that Democrats have the mantle on, patriotism or even loyalty to this country, because Tulsi Gabbard fucks that whole shit up. She's totally in bed. And then I'll have some people that are defenders of her say, look, she's saying what people don't want to hear. She's saying what Putin wants people to hear. And how do I know that? Because I'm not sitting here looking at one fucking channel, getting all this input that's validating my little sensitive snowflake feelings, just so I can feel like I'm on the right team, I guess. The tribal nature comes out. The pack nature, I guess I'll call it. So, as I'm doing this, kind of going through this whole rigorous research process that I have to try to figure out what I'm going to talk about, I'm just kind of like, I'm going to talk about the meta level thing that this is fucking nuts. Spend a day, do some serious research, open yourself up to as many sources as you can, get on Twitter, follow conservative commentators, follow some liberal commentators, follow the fucking libertarian snakes that are out there, and you'll start to see that there's, you can start to see how bubbles form around each of those entities. And so you kind of got to bounce around. Otherwise, you're going to see it through like a very narrow view. Even if you're a Democrat or Republican or a fucking snake and a libertarian, you're not going to see the whole pictures. That's why it's like you got horse blinders on. You can say, look, I'm aware there's something over there, but you can't see it. I'm done with the analogies. My point of all this is that My frustration continues to be the lies, the deceit, the kayfabe. Hope I'm saying that right, kayfabe. That the performance art, the secrecy, and kind of the performance of we're doing something. Look, they unanimously passed daylight savings. Fucking Christ almighty. Where's your repeal and replace? Wasn't that 2008, 2010? ACA is stumbling along because you took out all the good shit that actually makes it work. And so now premiums go up, the mandate's out the door because you got the Supreme Court to say it's not constitutional, which again, I'll question that one just because I don't understand how it's not constitutional to make something that is keeping people alive a requirement. I don't know. I'm not a lawyer, okay? So I'm not going to go in into that realm. But if you step back from your own party and you step back from your sources and you start to look at what kind of picture there, you can start to see that one party does have a vision. It's fucking stumbly and they don't have a cohesive unit voting for it. You got the mansions, you got the cinemas, the enemas. You got those people that are kind of thwarting all this, the agenda, which I can't even believe they allowed them to run when you're running and saying, hey, look, I support the Democratic platform. There's agenda. There's a paper document that they write to say, here's all the things we support. And then you get elected at one of the top positions in your state and you say, nah, I'm not part of that platform. That platform doesn't make sense because I'm an oil baron or a coal baron and I'm not going to vote for it. So again, Democrats aren't sitting here unscathed by any means. They're part of this. They're part of the institution that legislates. And so, of course, they've got to be thrown into the mix. But again, let's take it one step at a time and look at what one party's done for us in the last 10 years. Let's go back to before Obama was elected. They got us into fucking the war. George Bush marched us into fucking war we didn't need to be in. Didn't even go after the right people that attacked us on 9/11, which were Saudis and Lebanese and some other folks. So they went to Afghanistan because that's where bin Laden was hiding. And of course they got him, or I think they got him in Pakistan. But that was the war that we spent, what, 5 trillion, 10 trillion? How much was it? I mean, it was a fucking shit ton. That was GOP. Then they drove us into recession essentially because they allowed Wall Street to fucking run amok. They passed legislation prior to 2008, which was the Great Recession, that essentially allowed investment banks and traditional bankers to merge their assets and also to not have as much leverage to cover their capital costs of lending. It's a little bit more complicated than that. That's a simple version. That was passed by the GOP, and of course, then Obama's in office while the crisis is happening, and they just don't even hold any. There's no responsibility there. Elizabeth Warren comes in and says, "Hey, we got to fucking fix this. We got to get it back to the way it was." GOP, no. Why? Because they're paid by the fucking Wall Street people. So are the Democrats. That's no lie. Pharmaceutical owns the Democrats. It's a whole other problem. We'll get into it, I swear to God. But hear me out. Whatever party you're in, take a step back. Don't listen to me. Go do your research. And this isn't one of those things where you're going to come back a fucking expert, okay? But talk about it. Think about it. Use your eyes. Use your ears. What you see and hear. Don't rely on one personality unless it's fucking me, of course. Don't rely on one personality to give you all your facts, even if it's me. And you'll start to see that there's a picture that really brings that kayfabe term to fruition, and that is it's performance theater. It's performance art. These people are performing and act like they're public servants, and then they get in there and they don't do shit. There's conflicting things. Don't believe your eyes. Don't believe your ears. Listen to what we say. Democrats are them. They're us. Brown people are bad. They're coming for you. We need our guns to protect us from the brown people that are coming for us. Again, these brown people that have absolutely nothing, and the only incentive for them is just to get in the country and live, not just thrive. They just want to fucking live. But those are the folks they want you to be scared of. And so there's these conflicting messages of love. We're the party of parents, but yet we ban books. We're the party of parents that we're absolutely against any mandates. We're the party that believes in personal responsibility, yet we're against fucking people wearing masks, which is a personal responsibility in a pandemic. It's just bizarre. I don't know how you kind of say I'm a Republican and I vote for them and I'll support their ideas. I will have you on this show and I will not cut your mic. You can tell me what their ideas are and what the end game is. Lloyd, anybody. I don't give a fuck. Come on. I will give you, again, I'm not Oprah Winfrey, but I will give you the fucking, if you're making good arguments, I'll let you keep talking. But I guarantee you don't fucking know what their end game is. You just know the Democrats are bad. And you know that your team has to win. And then they basically play that. And they do their performance theater to make sure they have the right heels. Wrestlers. See, I know a couple terms now. You know, they got to make sure they have their rivalries, their feuds, so that the narrative that they want to paint, that they'll use to create the proper amount of fear that gets you off your ass in voting. That's what they need to do. That's all they need to do. And then they keep everything they have. The other interesting thing is these people, the Republicans aren't necessarily stupid, because they passed laws that prevented people from voting. They made it more difficult across the country for people to vote. They tried to challenge mail-in voting. In Texas just now, there was the last election that just happened. Typically, there's 1 to 2% of the votes that are thrown out. After the bills that were passed in Texas last year, the last election was 6 to 22%, depending on where the area was, of votes that were thrown out. I mean, come on. So for years, it's 1 to 2%. And all of a sudden, now you pass some legislation and they're finding a whole bunch of bad votes? Come on. Come on. So what does that mean? Up until this year, we were essentially running, like rolling the dice, and we had people that were pulling the strings, and maybe every previous election was fake because there was so much fraud. That's what they want you to believe. And you're buying it. I see people on Instagram and Twitter saying, let's just get voter ID. We'll give them this, but we need voter ID. And I'm like, you don't even know why you need voter ID. You don't understand why they fucking want that. It's to make it difficult for people that don't have the same capabilities that you and I have to get a fucking ID, and make it difficult for them. They want to take away their fucking right. And you guys are okay with it. The party of personal responsibility, the party Constitution rules all, wants to fucking take away a fucking like integral part of the democratic process. And Mitch Romney this week suggested that we're at a fucking threshold and we're going to lose democracy. And he was talking about his own party. So if you're a Republican and you're watching this, you're just getting pissed off and triggered, fuck you. Wake up. Fucking stop voting out of your ass selfishly like it's your team. And if you're a Democrat watching this thinking that you're not fucking next, I haven't seen you make, I'm not hearing about calls to Congress to push Medicare for all, at least not locally. I'm not hearing a big push to get the agenda items that we want. I'm not seeing people activate. I am seeing people fight for social justice. I'm not saying what I see is the sample of the entire world, by the way. And I'm sitting here yelling and screaming at camera, so you can call me a hypocrite. That's fair. But my larger point is that, you know, these folks need to be held accountable, and right now no one's doing it. And the only people that are holding them accountable are their donors. They're putting out conflicting messages. You and I are going to fall for this shit because it's going to create fear, uncertainty, and doubt. And then we're just going to continue this performance art. And they'll bow out and we'll be fucked. And then I'll be an I Told You So mountain, which I love being on when it's a good thing. But I'll be on I Told You So mountain saying, remember these things that I said about this and this and this and this? And everyone thought Nate's just fucking wacky? And I'll be I Told You So, and it won't feel very good, because we'll be in a, you know, if the Republicans have their way, there'll be no social safety, no social security. You have no retirement if you work at a job and you build up your social security. You don't have any health care. If they had their choice, they would allow the insurance company to write the bills for how health care is processed. They probably do, because they don't believe health care is a right. They don't believe you have the right to good health care. It's a privilege. That is verbatim their position. And you continue to vote for this. The reason I'm stuck with the Democrats is because their vision, at least the shit I'm voting for, makes fucking sense in the end game. And I might not be here for the end game, but I'm hoping America is. That's my patriotic duty. And you're failing by fucking voting for this. You voted for a clown, and you're failing by continuing to not hold your people accountable. That goes for Democrats and Republicans. I fucking tweet the fuck out, Lloyd. I know you probably like, well, mean Twitter, no big deal. I've called, I've written, I've gotten them to fucking spam bomb me with their mailing list. At one point, I was getting like 200 messages a minute, and they wouldn't fucking answer the phone. So some programmer just like cranked it out. And literally every second I was getting an email. I'm like, what the fuck? Oh, it was an error on our end. No, it wasn't. You basically email bombed me. So I got email bombed by fucking Lloyd Smucker's team. True story. Have the receipts. It might be an error, and they might have plausible deniability, but they were probably annoyed with my fucking Twitter hate. And I'm glad, because Lloyd Smucker essentially said to the Pennsylvania people, your vote doesn't matter in the presidential election, but I won my seat, so I'm going to go down here and vote to usurp your votes and have them hold off on the election until we get a good audit. Motherfucker, get the fuck out. Get the fuck out. And I'm not ready to fucking completely, while I do want whoever runs against Lloyd, I hope wins, but I'm not very happy about the Democratic challengers either, to be honest with you. I think they're playing the game, and I think they're going to fucking be a cog in the wheel. I don't think they're going to be anything different. Maybe skin color might be different. Maybe gender might be different. Maybe sexual preference might be different, but they're playing the same fucking game and the same swampy shit. And so I'm going to yell when they get elected too, after they beat Lloyd's ass, because you have to do that. I did a blog post a couple weeks ago, or live about a couple weeks ago, talking about how I'm pro giving these people shit. I do not want these people to get harmed, but I'm okay to give them shit. They're public servants. Guess what? They're paid well. They're taken care of. Give them shit. Otherwise, they're going to, you know who's going to give them shit? Their donors are going to pull the strings, because you're just all about your team, and Democrats, you're all about your team, and you're not open-minded enough to fucking even look at a Republican idea, which, by the way, I am. All right. Look, I told you I didn't have anything planned. That was my best kind of ad hoc, out of my ass rant that I had tonight. But I will say this. It's consistently, everything I said, there's consistency here. And that is, there's a narrative that's being played out, and we're the pawns, we're the pieces, we're the people that are going to be influenced. And if you're just allowing yourself to kind of go with your team without any kind of introspection or analysis, or even just a simple, that doesn't really match with what I'm seeing, then you're part of the problem. You have to, democracy requires participation. It does. My friends that work here and have businesses that come to me and say, oh, I don't vote. I mean, it's such a disappointment. It's such a, they have no idea the fucking blood that was shed to get us here. And then they're just like, nah, I don't care. I run a business. Yeah, I have employees, but guess what? I'm going to bitch and moan about it when it doesn't go my way. I got no time. I got no time for that shit. You made the bed, now fucking shit in it. All right, I'm fired up enough, so I'm going to cut. Let me see if I went a half hour. Did I go too long? I went too long. I'm trying to go to a half hour, but you know, once I get going, I'm just like, let me give you a quick update. So let me just summarize what I was going for tonight, and that is, there's conflicting messaging coming from the GOP. There's conflicting messaging coming from their leadership. And if you're not opening your eyes to see this obvious bullshit, then you probably are the person that thought Trump had a robe on while his dick was hitting you in the face. And I feel sorry for you. If you've actually gotten some from this and you're thinking maybe you want to open your mind up and question it and then challenge me on this, that's fantastic. Message me. Send me the hate. Send me your facts. I love it. I want to be challenged. In fact, if you're that good, I'll fucking have you on the show. But I'm not even worried about that happening. I'm not. So that's the offers out there. You know, and this is, I'm going to probably continue to talk about the narratives unless somebody kind of really wants me to talk about something specific, just because that's what's happening. And I think elections are important and they matter. And that's where I feel like my voice can be effective, at least at starting some conversations. By the way, I'm going to wrap today, but I wanted to say before I close, you guys are awesome. Even the haters, even the people that don't like me, even the people that don't agree with me, I get a lot of support from people that don't agree with me. I don't know why my mouth's running. But I get a lot of support from people that really, they tell me straight out, I don't agree with your politics. I don't agree with it, but I like your show. I don't agree with anything you say. It pissed me off, but I don't want to see you stop. And that's like fucking awesome. Because, you know, I joke around and say if I had a million haters, I'd be wildly successful. But I'll take the haters that engage with me. I'll take the haters that actually kind of are watching and listening at least to what I'm and putting my voice in their eardrums, and I appreciate it. I mean, sometimes I look like I'm just pissed at the world, which a lot of times I am, but the truth of the matter is I truly love doing this. I truly love when somebody sends me a message that made them think something they didn't know, or it triggered them to kind of go outside of themselves. That's a super high for me. It really is. I should have been a teacher maybe. Probably you're out there going, dude, I would never have you teach my kids. I'd fucking make your kid a champion. That's what I'd do. But anyway, so I want to say thank you to everybody, even the haters, even the people that don't support me, even the people that lurk and never say like or share my content. You're watching it, or you're talking about it, or you're saying Nate sucks, don't watch his show. The fact that you uttered my name and you said Smashing the Party to somebody is what I want anyway. So, even if you're hating on me and you're talking shit on me, I'm okay. As long as you're saying Smashing the Party sucks. Nightcap that happens at 10:30, Monday through Thursday, 4 weeks in a row. It absolutely is horrible. The guy that runs the host, he's this fucking white talking, looks like a black guy, asshole, whatever you want to say. But make sure you tell them the time, and you tell them the show, and you tell them where they can find it. So look, I'm going to wrap with that. But again, I really mean that when I say the gratitude's there. I'm finding kind of new sources for ways to continue this, and I'm excited about it. So maybe that's another reason why I'm a little bit excited tonight, because I'm feeling like some of the pieces in the vision that some of the pieces and components that I need to really make this work, because I don't have fucking connections and I don't have all the fucking fancy, journalist experience. I'm not a stand-up comedian, so I'm kind of building all this stuff from scratch with nobody knowing a fucking thing about me. But I'm seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. Sometimes it gets dark and it's frustrating because it's like, man, 3 people watched my video. It was fucking dope. But you know what? I got to stay the course. And even the haters, even the people that, support me or don't support me, with the engagement that you do on the platforms, it's awesome. So thank you. Thank you to the haters. Thank you to the lovers. And I hope to continue to do this, and I hope you're entertained tonight, most of all. But let's just, not most of all, second of all. First of all, I hope I made you think. But I'll wrap at that. I'll be back on tomorrow at 10:30. This is week 1, so we have 3 more weeks of this after this week. Tomorrow's Thursday, so I will say it's the day where people of Irish descent celebrate St. Patrick's Day, but everyone else in the country decides to be Irish for a day too. There's a high probability that I may be a part of some libations that happen, and then we may have to do a live either on spot, or if for some reason the libations have altered any kind of state of mind that I'm in, I'll do something else. So tomorrow's a little fishy because I have some obligations, but I'll put something up, and hopefully, look, I'm not planning on getting wasted or anything like that, but I just want to make sure that I don't come on here and kind of soil my perfect run here of just total inspiration. And I'm lying, by the way, because I did do this drunk one time. It was horrible. I did it twice. I got phone calls to say, take that shit off the internet. It was bad. So I'd never do that again. Anyway, listen, I said enough. I shared some personal shit. I talked to you about what I'm thinking about. The midterms are on my fucking mind. They should be on your mind. If you're an American, you care about this country, just fucking participate. Vote for the first time. Do it. You'll feel like a fucking true patriot. Even if you vote Republicans, I won't hate you. You don't have to tell me. In fact, I don't hate Republicans. I hate some of their behaviors. But Republicans are good people. My parents were Republicans. I have family members Republicans. So don't think that I'm sitting here saying that, it's them. It's us. We're all in this together. Look, I've covered all my bases. I'm going to wrap. I'll see you guys tomorrow at 10:30. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you don't know, like, share, comment, subscribe. I'm on Snapchat, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, all over the place. You can find my smashingtheparty.com/links. Find all of them. Go do something. If you don't want to participate in democracy, you can at least participate in this show, okay? So if you're not going to participate in the democracy, continue to support this show, and I'll try to help get you out for that. cliff and into the system. That's all I got. Let me find where's my stop button. Da 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 da. Stop button. All right, I got my stop button queued. Thanks everybody again. I appreciate it. I love it. I'm sure. Let me just check to see if there's any comments that made me. Hopefully things aren't bad. Oh, the camera looks great. All right, cool. What do you think will help unite both parties? James, I'm going to touch on that another time. I will talk about ways to unify. I've said right now the time is not to unify. Everyone's talking about bipartisanship. You can't do bipartisanship with people that are fucking nuts. And right now, since they don't have an agenda, we don't know what their end game is. I'm suggesting that bipartisanship, that ship sailed for this at this moment. Of course, I want them to get together. We need the votes, but I'm saying, like, I don't necessarily think the parties have to get along or get people together. I know the polarization's bad. I think we need to kind of clean house, maybe in both parties in some areas, and get new people in there, new blood, run for office. Don't even fucking tell me to run for office. I've already said things on here that will never, I guess Trump got elected, so I could probably get elected. But the point is, I'm not really 100% on the bipartisanship. I'll do a whole thing on that at another time. Let me see if the other comments came out. Do women reproduce sexually now? Jason Hoover. All laws are about bodies. So I'm just going to say Jason has put his name on there. Jason will constantly comment on page. I love it. I appreciate it. I really do, Jason. What I don't appreciate is that sometimes there's no intelligible information to argue. It's just kind of parroting from a conservative religious perspective without any kind of insight. And so oftentimes I won't engage with you. That's the truth, Jason. It's just like sometimes you make a statement and you're just trying to jab me, and it's like, okay, you got me. I'll let you win that one. But it's not really conversational. So the question Jason asked is, do women reproduce sexually now? Again, I don't know how to ask that. I don't know how to answer that question. It seems obvious to me. All laws are about bodies. That's an interesting one. Fetuses aren't the last of us. And 3 stripes. All right. Jason, you're awesome, though, for commenting. And I know I just used you as a whipping boy. I know you like that term, too. But I got to say, man, like, I don't even understand what your point is. I know you're pro-life. I got that. I know you have strong opinions about abortion, even though you don't have a vagina. It's fucking bizarre. But because you're protecting the sanctity of life, I know you're packing. I know you care about the Second Amendment, too. I know. And also I know you watch my show, and I know you comment on almost everything you can. So you are a winner because of that. You are a winner because you engage with Smashing the Party. But when you post things like that are silly and pedantic and kind of just, it doesn't move the needle for either of us, I'm just not going to engage. So you got a lot out of me tonight, though. So I'm glad I read the comments. And by the way, don't stop commenting, because you'll probably be on this show at some point. People would probably love you more than me. So Jason, you're awesome. You know I love your brother. I love your family. All that shit. We're all good. By the way, I was in his brother's wedding, so I'm being serious about it. He's a fucking Marine. He can take my punches. But I know that I don't know if I want to have a battle of wits with him, because I don't feel like he's equipped. Does that make sense? So anyway, I'm going to move on. Nice rip. I know that was good. I'll see you guys tomorrow at 10:30. Thanks again for the comments, everybody. Did I touch on everybody's comments? There's something red I can't even see. My glasses going. There's somebody restream. Who said that? Foundation. Oh, hey, somebody that maybe is some weirdo. I don't know. And James said something. Lewis, I don't like the glare in your glasses. Yeah, by the way, I said that at the beginning, Lewis. I talked about the glare. I couldn't fix it before the show. I noticed it was really bad. So obviously you weren't paying attention to the whole fucking show, and I know it's late. I know you want me to move it earlier. But, buddy, I talked about it. I addressed it. Move on. Don't apologize, man. Isn't that what you told me? All seriousness, got nothing but love for you. That's my photographer, by the way. He's awesome. He did good work for me. He actually took this face and made it look magical. That's all I got, guys. I'm really, really kind of laying out the one-liners, and I think I'm just too hot tonight, so I'm going to get off the mic, and we'll check in tomorrow. Everybody that commented, really appreciate it. Jason, I love you. I appreciate your comments. Sometime you'll get me to engage with you, but I'm just waiting for something really good and juicy that we can actually, that's actually something we can talk about, that we can move the needle on. I know I'm not going to move the needle on abortion with you. I know I'm not going to move the needle on having any kind of regulation around Second Amendment rights. So those two things are where you're locked in, and I'm kind of in the land of reason and logic, and you're in the land of fetish and weirdness. So until you come into the land of realness and acknowledge that a gun is not a pro-life tool, then we'll be able to converse about that. And as soon as you come to the realization that you don't have a vagina, and you also, I don't know if you have kids. I do. I assume you do. Probably shouldn't have any kind of say over the reproductive system over a woman unless you have, you're a gynecologist or you're, a reproductive doctor. If that's what they're called. So I know you picked the Second Amendment thing because you're Marine and your family's values. I just don't understand how guys get all buck wild about, as if they're some hero shit, I guess, that comes with it, where they're saying, no, women, I know best for you. Maybe it's patriarchal. You do not know. You're pro-choice. Look, I'm a man, and I'm telling you, you're wrong. Mind-blowing. Mind-blowing. Mind-fucking-blowing. Anyway, that's all I got for tonight. Hope you liked it. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace.